All right, welcome to this explainer. I am so incredibly pumped to have you here today, because we're about to embark on a seriously mind-bending journey, and I guarantee it's going to permanently change how you look at the night sky. We spend our whole lives trusting our senses, just kind of assuming that what we see with our own two eyes is, well, an unfiltered reflection of reality. But today, we're unpacking a fascinating source text that reveals how the cosmos is actually playing a massive trick on our perception. We're diving into a phenomenon that totally defies basic intuition. Let's jump right in.
So, why does the sky look so incredibly still? Seriously, think about your own experience for a sec. We've all done it. Stood outside on a crisp, clear night, tilted our heads back, and just stared up at the stars. It feels deeply peaceful, doesn't it? It feels completely silent. To our human eyes, the heavens just look like the static, unchanging canvas. It's this universal ancient human thing to find comfort in that unwavering calm. But as we're about to see, our human experience is only catching a tiny, tiny fraction of the actual cosmic story.
Okay, Section 1. The silent illusion of the sky and the deception of the senses. Let's get into it. The truth is that peaceful, motionless canvas is basically one of the greatest deceptions in the natural world. I want you to prepare yourself to completely shatter that illusion. The sky is not resting. It is not taking a break. In fact, it is entirely alive with an energy and a momentum that is almost impossible for our brains to fully grasp at first glance.
Here is the stark reality. Stars move at hundreds of kilometers per second. Hundreds! Just let that marinate for a fraction of a moment. Hundreds of kilometers, crossed in a single tick of the clock. Every single second. While we're chilling in our backyards enjoying what feels like a perfectly serene night, there are these massive burning spheres of gas just tearing through the vacuum of space right above our heads. We are looking at celestial bodies thousands of times larger than Earth, hurtling through the dark. The sky isn't still, it's racing. It is a torrential downpour of kinetic energy, all happening in absolute silence.
Moving on to Section 2, 70 times faster than a cannonball, grasping the scale of cosmic speed. Because honestly, to really understand what hundreds of kilometers a second means, the raw numbers just don't cut it. The human brain kind of short-circuits trying to visualize numbers that large. We need a tangible analogy, something visceral that actually conveys the raw physical power involved here.
So look at the sheer scale of the number 70. According to the astronomical realities in our source material, some of these stars are traveling more than 70 times faster than a cannonball fired from a barrel. Imagine the explosive force, the violent, ripping velocity of a solid iron cannonball tearing through the air. You can practically hear the shockwave, right? Now, take that extreme, concussive speed and multiply it by 70. That is exactly what is silently soaring through the darkness of space right now. Entire solar systems are just being dragged along for the ride at these blistering speeds.
So how do we reconcile this? Why do we see it? Well, it basically comes down to a grand optical illusion. Step 1. Extreme velocity totally exists in space. We just proved that with the cannonball analogy. But step 2. Billions of kilometers of distance separate us from these objects. And step 3. That vast, unimaginable distance optically nullifies the apparent motion to our eyes. Think about watching a commercial jet at cruising altitude. It looks like it's just crawling across the sky, even though it's going hundreds of miles an hour. Actually, multiply that distance by billions. Because the gulf of space is so massive, our eyes simply cannot process the movement. The sheer scale of the universe seemingly turns the ultimate chaos of speed into absolute tranquility.
Which brings us to Section 3, perfect order instead of chaos, the harmony of the cosmos. Let's look at the dissonance here.
We have this massive kinetic energy happening all around us. The logical question is, why isn't the universe just a messy demolition derby? Well, a prominent scholar, often called the great interpreter of the century, hit the nail on the head. He said, if the stars were wandering aimlessly at these colossal speeds, there would be terrifying chaos and deafening noise in the universe. Think about the weight of that. If there was no underlying mechanism, the inevitable result of giant flaming spheres moving at these velocities would literally be absolute terrifying chaos. The cosmos would just tear itself apart.
And this perfectly illustrates the core paradox of our night sky. Logically, on the left, we should expect undirected speeds to result in terrifying chaos, deafening noise, and violent collisions. It should be a war zone up there. But on the right, what do we actually observe? Perfect stillness, silent skies, and orderly orbits. We see clockwork precision that has sustained galaxies for billions of years. The contrast between what basic momentum suggests should happen and the intricate, peaceful ballet that actually is happening is just staggering.
So what's the secret? It's gravitational balance.
Essentially, this is the physical reality where colossal orbital speeds are perfectly counteracted and stabilized by equally massive regulatory forces. These terrifying speeds aren't random. The stars are not wandering aimlessly. They are carefully held in check by the strict mechanics of gravity. The massive gravitational pull of galactic centers perfectly balances the massive outward push of this velocity. It's an intricate cosmic dance where speed is the exact thing preventing stars from collapsing inward, while gravity prevents them from flying off into the void.
The big takeaway here is that speed and order absolutely can coexist. Massive speeds require massive regulatory forces. Velocity and order do not exclude each other. In fact, this proves that such a highly energized system only remains stable through perfectly precise balance and delicate calculations. Every single movement, every trajectory is accounted for in the grand equation of the cosmos. It ensures that extreme velocity results in a predictable orbit rather than a catastrophic collision. The universe isn't static, guys. It is just perfectly tuned.
Let's slow things down a bit for Section 4, Power and Tranquility, the Silent Might. As we synthesize everything today, we arrive at a profoundly beautiful realization. We are moving from raw physics back to the human experience of just looking up at the night sky. Consider this final thought. The tranquility you see is not a lack of motion. It is the silence of perfectly balanced power. The stillness we see isn't an absence of movement at all. It is the majestic silence of forces so massive and so perfectly balanced they appear still. It changes the whole shebang, doesn't it? It leaves us with a lingering question for long after this explainer ends. When you look up at the stars tonight, will you see a simple, static painting? Or will you witness the silent, roaring engine of a perfectly ordered universe? Thanks for joining me. Keep looking up and never stop questioning what you see.